talking into the lapel, moving around on camera, talking into the lapel for testing, testing both of these, still testing, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing. Testing, testing 1, 2, 3, still testing, transmitting good audio, still good. Levels are hopefully good. Should be good to go. 1, 2, 3. I'm running out of numbers. There's no other numbers besides 1, 2, 3. Oh. Okay.
I think you're okay though.
I can adjust it. Testing one more time. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully less blown out. Eventually I'll think of more numbers other than 1, 2, and / or 3.
All right.
Last time, testing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't want to go past 7, but I've lowered it on both ends, and hopefully we should be good to go.
Press it. Do I have to press it?
You slide it up,
Okay.
and you should be good to go.
Good evening, I don't think it's working.
Balance it for the close.
Okay. How's that? Whoops. Is that better? Okay, how's that? You want me to continue talking? You hear that? Is that better? Is that better? It was better before that. Good evening. If you could all try and find a seat and take it, we'd appreciate it. Welcome. My name is Suzanne Carvelli, and I am the board president of Cornell Cooperative Extension of Oneida County. I would like to call to order the 2024 annual meeting and stakeholders meeting. Could you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you'd like to remain standing, and I'd like to introduce Chris Harrison to come and give the invocation.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. As we come together this evening, let us take a moment for a short blessing. First, let us express thanksgiving for the gift of the harvest and the people we serve that plant the crops, cultivate the fields, and care for the livestock. And for those among us that enrich our lives and garden spaces by their dedicated stewardship and training, we give thanks. We are grateful too for the many other constituents we serve, those that teach and care for our children. They do work that ensures our future. For the leaders that have stepped forward to guide and support our work, our board members, our volunteers, the assembly members of our county, the leaders of Oneida County government, and the New York State representatives, we thank you. We ask for divine guidance as we navigate the tasks that lie ahead. May the work we do and each and every one of us in the CCE family continue to be blessed with your grace. And lastly, we ask that you bless this meal to our use and bless each of us to your use. Amen.
Thank you all for attending our annual meeting, and to the Joseph family for allowing us to have this meeting at North Star Orchards. I would like to thank all the board members of the Cornell Cooperative Extension Board, and if I call your name, if you could please stand. Vice President Anna Weeks, Secretary Amy McGlogger, Treasurer Dick Presky, and our at-large board members, Kathy Kachari, Roseanne LaBarco, Dennis Osborne, Wally Ramsey, Howard Regner, Paul Sears, Debbie Spinelli, Holly Wolonsky, our legislative representative, George Joseph, and our state extension specialist, Danielle Hodamani. And if I made a mistake with your name, I do apologize. Thank you very much for all your hard work. I would also like to thank Mary Beth McEwen, our Executive Director of Cornell Cooperative Extension, and our staff for all your work throughout the year. We could never be to where we are without your dedication and understanding of the needs of everyone around us, and you do an exceptional job. Thank you very much. I would also like to extend a special thanks to County Executive Anthony Pacini Jr., Assembly Members Brian Miller and Marianne Budishon, Legislators Norman Leach, Carolyn Gable Reel, and George Joseph, James Genovese, Commissioner of Planning. We thank you for giving your time and dedication to Cornell Cooperative Extension of Oneida County, and we will give you the opportunity to speak after dinner. Except Marianne Budishon has to go to another event, so if you'd like to come forward now and speak, you're welcome to.
Thank you very much. I just want to thank everyone at Cornell, as well as the board, and so many that support Cornell Cooperative Extension. Is Mary Beth leadership and her team that is here, it's just phenomenal. Would the team just stand up? I just want everyone to see what an intricate team is here throughout, making you stand up. But from the educational experiences that you provide, the events, we do a farm tour that without a doubt wouldn't happen without Cornell Cooperative Extension, and my colleagues still talk about it. It is great to have various legislators that come from Brooklyn to Buffalo. And Myron was just talking about some collaborations that are happening, so to me it is so important. So clearly, from one dirt farmer to so many other farmers that are here tonight, I thank you. I am not as sophisticated as all of you, but I can tell you this much, that without a doubt, the expertise within this room does not go unnoticed. And I see our county executive just came in also. So thank you.
George, would you like to come up? We are in this lovely greenhouse that George and Elaine have graciously offered to hold our annual meeting. We want to thank you, and as he gets here, we have a small token of our appreciation for you for doing it. So I'd like to present this to you.
I just donated.
Thank you so much, George, for allowing us to have this event. It's just a wonderful place to enjoy, and we really wanted to show you our appreciation.
Those that know me, this is the only time I'll come to a meeting at CCE. So whatever it takes, we'll do it. Thank you.
He does come to our finance meetings too, because he likes to see how we're doing that and keep us in line. So, thank you, George. On November 2nd of this year, next weekend, the Taste of Central New York will be held here from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a free event, and samples from all the vendors will be there given out. We are going to switch things up a little bit this year to start the evening off by honoring Marty Broccoli, who has recently retired as the Ag Economic Development Educator. And I would like to ask George if he'd like to say a few words and to start the honoring of Marty.
Marty is watching us live. So this is being live by Marty and family right now.
Can we see him? Or he can see us? Hey, Marty, you're late. typically Marty and I stand in the back over there. And Marty and I have worked, what was that?
They can't hear you. You gotta talk right into the
Oh,
microphone.
okay. Marty and I started around the same time. And Marty was like what I always said, he was like a rocket ship, but don't let him direct it and steer it. He had all the energy, and there wasn't anybody that he wouldn't talk to. And Marty, I think it carries on, if you can hear me. We really, the residual effect of what Marty Broccoli has brought to ag economic development is unparalleled. And you set the bar high. Myron has big shoes to fill. He asked me, Marty, if I'd sort of help him out a little bit. I don't know what you coached him with, but of course we will. And there's a lot of great things that we've done, and there's a lot more great things that we will do. And I have all the confidence that the course that you've set, and if I could remember them all the missed trials and the trials and the successes that we've had, starting to bear fruition. The only thing is, if we ever bring out those butternut squash cookies again, we're gonna name them after you, Marty. But like all good things, we're holding your seat, Marty. You always have a seat at the table, and hopefully it'll be sooner than later. Thank you.
Dick, would you like to come up, Presky, and say a few words?
Met this gentleman, I kind of said, boy, this is the type of guy that I can learn a lot from. And ever since that, and that was many years ago, ever since that time, him and I has been involved with a few different organizations, and I was 100% right, like I'm usually always wrong, but with Marty, it's hard to just fill his shoes, I think. I think the Extension Service of Oneida County was very lucky to have a gentleman like him involved with us. If you asked him a question, he wouldn't hesitate to give you an answer. And then he'd look at you and say, but I'll double check on that just to make sure that we're right. And I would get a phone call later on to let me know that he was usually right. Every once in a while it was kind of borderline. But years ago, I asked him, I said, Marty, I need some help. I got to have someone join the board down at Mohawk Valley Development Corporation. And Marty said, yeah, no problem whatsoever. Be more than willing to help you, Dick. I said, good, you're on the board. And about a year and a half ago, at a board meeting, Marty come up to me, said, I got a little favor. You got some time? I go, yeah, anything you need, just ask. He did, and I'm here. That's the way Marty was. He could ask you the easiest, simplest question and get the greatest answer in the world, especially the one he wanted from you. And you never felt like you were forced into making a decision or anything. But if you had a question, anything to do with agriculture, especially with meat, and he would find an answer for you if he didn't have it right away. He talked about solar, he talked about slaughterhouses, he talked about so much to really make Oneida County expand and grow. So Marty, we're just waiting for you to come back. They told me that you retired. Trust me, I did that too. It lasted about an hour and a half with me, and I know it won't last much longer with you. So get yourself back on your feet, and we're looking for you to come back and join us. Thank you.
James Genovese, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Good evening. For those that don't know me, I'm the Planning Commissioner in Oneida County. Been in that position for 5 years, but I met Marty back in 2013 when I first started working for the county executive's office. I don't, we worked on a variety of initiatives together over the years, and there's some traits that always impressed me about you, Marty, and I figured I'd take a minute and tell you what they are. So first, his passion, Marty's passionate about his community. He was passionate about the role agriculture plays in that community, and passionate about the projects he believed would move this community forward, whether it was the REA wing or the public market, the dairy sustainability plan, farmland protection, or a whole lot of other things that Marty thought, was important and that were important that we did. And he was passionate about them and wanted to do them. And he was always there to talk to you about them and move them forward. Second, the best way to explain it, I guess, is Marty is an honest broker, right? You didn't have to beat around the bush or be circumspect with Marty. He got it. He got how government worked. He understood his role in it. And I'll tell you just a quick story. Years and years ago, George is over there. So years and years ago, the county executive and the county board would go through our budget cycles, and let's just say in this one they had a bit of a disagreement, particular aspect of that budget, and at the time, it was my job to make sure that those who supported the budget as it was, let them know. And so I had Marty on the phone because I figured he'd be one of those guys. And I said, I need you to kind of do this. I need you to support it because, it's things could happen if you don't. And I was probably, I was a lot younger then, and I was probably coming on way too strong, and I was probably way too arrogant. What you find out is that that's never really necessary, ever. And it's even less necessary when you're talking to Marty, who then says to me on the phone, although his family's listening too, so he didn't use any of these abbreviations, but we'll use them. He said, James, there's no reason to BS me or screw around. I don't think he used screw though. If you're telling me we're going to get cut or I'm going to get cut, then just say it. And I said, well, lesson learned. Marty doesn't screw around, and he wasn't screwing around then. I will say that time nobody got cut, and the commitment here to CCE has never been better, and we partner on all kinds of things from agriculture to childcare. That's in no small part because of Marty in many ways. I'll tell you, when I became planning commissioner, he's literally one of the first people to call me. I got appointed, I don't think I was out the door of that board meeting, and he gave me a call, and to congratulate me, but also to say he was ready to do a bunch of stuff, right? He's ready to work, and which he did all the time. So for me, that story and that immediate call is really encapsulates what working with Marty and knowing Marty's about. He's passionate, he's an honest broker, he's straightforward, and there's no reason to BS him. And so I have and will continue to miss working with you, and we wish you all the best.
Assembly member Brian Miller had to leave, so Cindy Del Piano will be speaking for him.
Good evening, everybody. Tony Pacenti just growled at me. Marty Broccoli, nice man, nice man. I remember that year, James, that you're talking about. It was a tough year. On behalf of Assemblyman Miller, Marty, Brian wishes you well, fast recovery. You've done many, many good things for the Cornell Cooperative Extension, as your wife did for Stephen Swan's Humane Society. You're a couple that is interested in this community and have always put the community before everybody else. Thank you very much.
And just so our county executive doesn't have to growl anymore, would Anthony Pacenti like to come forward?
How are you? Good evening. Good evening. It's great to be here at North Star Orchards. George got the heat on, so I appreciate that. It is my pleasure to be with all of you tonight, and really, a great pleasure and honor to recognize the work that Marty has done. Marty and I have been friends, really a lot longer than we have worked together. Obviously, both growing up kind of in the same neighborhood in East Utica, and really, as we were talking about it, he's probably the only guy from East Utica that knew agriculture. But Marty and I, I mean, obviously, like I say, knew each other for a long time. And then, began working together. And it was before I was county executive. I was with Empire State Development. And, the county had created at that time the economic development, an ag economic development director in Marty. And we worked together on a variety of projects at that time. And I learned a great deal from him. And then, obviously, when I came over as county executive, he was, he's been invaluable to my administration, but also obviously to Cornell as we work hand in hand with everyone here. He is, there's a whole list of things that everybody knows that he's been involved with, from, helping us establish, the public market and all of the markets around the county that have had his hand somewhere in there. He has been instrumental in all of those pieces. He won't tell you that. He won't take credit for it, but it's there. He was instrumental in, the farm to food and so many different, aspects of agriculture in this region and really in upstate, on a first name basis with the ag commissioner always. And, really just put his, as it says, put his heart and soul into CCE and all that it does. And because he put his heart and soul into his community, he loves his community. And his wife Diane loved their community. They work together hand in hand to make this community better. And, we know, and I know Dick said that very right, very, very clearly. He's not, we know he's not going to retire in that sense because we're going to call on him. I know I am, and I know that people in this room will. And, he is a voice that needs to be heard when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to this community and the pieces that make it work. So, Marty, I can't thank you enough, and I know I don't want this to sound as a retirement speech because, I know you're always going to be a part of this community, but more importantly, a part of this family of Oneida County that, continues to look at ways to make it better. And believe me, and to all of you, and you know this, and to Marty and his family, you've made this place better. You've made us better because you put your heart and soul and you really committed to the things that are important. And what's more important than agriculture in this committee and putting food on the table? Nothing is. And Marty knew that, but Marty knew how to connect people. He knew how to bring people together. He knew how to talk in any circle that he needed to make a project come together. So Marty, this is not enough to say thank you. Not enough that I have, the proclamation, for you. There's much more that needs to be said and done. But I am so proud, first of all, that you're my friend. I'm so proud of what you have done. And as today goes, and along with all the people that are here, the nice thing is to be able to proclaim today, the October 24th, 2024, is Marty Broccoli Day in Oneida County. And I urge everyone in this room and throughout Oneida County to join me in honoring a great man, Marty Broccoli. God bless you, Marty.
Now I'd like to call up our executive director, Mary Beth, who's going to continue on.
Thank you, Sue, and thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for being here. We really appreciate it. And I can't think of a better way to start off this meeting than honoring Marty. I have to admit, when I first started working at CCE, but specifically in the role as executive director, I was like, oh my God, I got to work with Marty. And Marty, I was really intimidated by you. I was like, I don't know if I can do that. He's fantastic. And it turned out he is fantastic, but he's the easiest person to work with because he cares so much about everyone and everything he does. He truly is amazing. He would, he knew everybody. He would take me to events. He would introduce me to people that he told me I should talk to. He would, call me. He would guide me. I couldn't have done it without you, Marty, and I love you. And so, Marty did know everyone, including Dr. Temple Grandin. Is everyone familiar with Temple Grandin? She's an amazing person. If you aren't familiar with her, please watch the movie. She's great. She's actually a distinguished professor at the Department of Animal Science at the Colorado State University. But more importantly, she was really the person that started the humane treatment of animals before they were led to slaughter. She really saw that what was happening in meat processing plants was stressing the animals. It was not best practice. And you know who she worked with to change some of those practices? Our very own Marty. So I reached out to Temple and I asked if she would like to give a statement. So she did. She wrote back and she said, Marty and his brother Frank had the vision to let me use their Utica veal plant as the place where the first center track restrainer was installed. This equipment is now in all the big plants across all the countries, including all of the best plants. Temple Grandin, distinguished professor. So he truly knew everyone. He's just amazing. So I have to say, Marty, every time I talk to you on the phone, you always ended the conversation with, I love you, Mayor. So I love you, Marty. And at this time, I just want to invite anyone else up to speak. I'm sorry, I'm going to get teary-eyed. I miss them. If they have anything to say, and I know so many of you worked closely with Marty, so please come on up and just share your memories, share your thoughts. I know Marty would love to hear them. Myron, I think you're gonna speak, right?
If you wouldn't mind. So I have to start by saying I was with Luke George from Upstate Growers and Packers and his wife Kim today in Manhattan, working on a 5-year-long project that we started here in Oneida County with the Food Hub Collaborative. And now we've gotten USDA grants and we're starting to, we had a couple $1 million in sales with the network last year. It's a really exciting opportunity to bring in smaller farmers. So Marty, Luke unfortunately had to be at Parents Weekend at Cornell, but first off, I want to bet you that their daughter wouldn't be there if it wasn't for you. And so he wanted to just say he was sorry he couldn't be here, but also that you're family to him. And the idea that you've worked with those guys for 20 years to build Upstate Growers and Packers into what it is today is a pretty special accomplishment. So he said, thank you very much. And then I'd like to say a few words as Marty's trying to fill big shoes guy, I guess. Marty at heart, and I got a chance to know him, Mary Beth did, like very few people did, traveling all around with him and spending 3 years with him. But Marty was an educator, most of all. He loved to teach people new things. So whether that's Mike Tamel out in Fonda, who went to Cobble Skills meat processing program when Marty started that, or the people he worked with at Cade, which he was part of the original crew there, or all the people that he's worked with since then, like myself. We're lucky to have known Marty the teacher, Marty the leader. He used to try to temper me a little bit, so I asked George to do that too, maybe someday, because I can get a little overexcited. And Marty would always explain to me what was important, why we were doing what we were doing. But he also knew so many people across New York State, everything from the general manager, Michael, at Baldor's food emporium down in Brooklyn, or in the Bronx, which is the largest food distributor in the United States, to the guy who runs the Queens Chamber of Commerce that Marty introduced me to, who he had taken a picture of the plane in Oriskany to send because this gentleman's dad had served in a similar plane, right, and had passed away. He truly cared about the people that he worked with. And so, Marty, I'm never going to be able to fill your shoes, but thanks so much for all that you've done to help me get here.
Thank you, Myron. And I do think Luke called Marty the man, the myth, the legend in his email. So that sums it up. But please, anyone else come up and say a few words? Lorraine, thank you. So Lorraine Kinney Kitchen, I am so glad that she's here today. She's retired from Cornell Cooperative Extension, many years as our director of the Child Care Council. So thank you.
Hey Marty, remember this face? When I announced that I was going to retire, or actually I didn't announce it, it got around before I even talked to him. He came down to my office and he's like, "You cannot retire before I do." Do you remember that, Marty? All I want to say about Marty is that I learned from his playbook about how to make community connections and the importance of being yourself. Marty never pretended to be anybody that he wasn't, and it worked for him. And I think by following in his footsteps, I made a lot of connections in the community. Certainly not as many as Marty, but he is a great guy. He was a great manager of the program, and we miss you, Marty. I look forward to seeing you soon. And I love you, Marty.
Thank you, Lorraine. Anyone else? Come up and say a few words. I know it's difficult to sum it up. He's so fantastic that you just can't say enough about it, so it's difficult. But thank you. Thank you to all the speakers here to share your memories, your stories, and just a fraction of things that Marty has done for agriculture and Cornell Cooperative Extension and the entire community. So thanks again, Marty. We all love you. And now it's time for dinner. So we switched it up a little bit. So we'll invite tables 2 by 2. The buffet is in the back, and you'll find coffee, tea, and hot cider along the side table. So if we start at the back 2 tables, and we'll go 2 by 2 and work our way up. Thank you so much.